I said, you've got to get things done. You've got to accomplish goals. You want to create a legacy. And he looks at me and he says, "Of course, right, but not at the risk of happiness and relationships," he replied. And I was like, "Okay, all right," I said, "but if you don't create goals around happiness and relationships, they will be at risk," I shot back. And then Paul said back to me pretty heatedly, "You won't have any happiness or relationships if you are nonstop pushing and grinding." Welcome to Richer Retailer, where we're going to fix your cash flow and build profits so you can build a legacy and finally sleep better. That is for sure what I needed when I had my store. Hosted by me, Kathy Donovan Wagner, I'm an accidental retailer who went from near bankruptcy to owning 3 successful stores, generating multiple 7 figures in sales. As the founder of Retail Mavens, my mission is to help more women-owned retail stores reach $1 million. So if you're ready to scale past 7 figures and you like coffee, champagne, and profit and fun, well, at least profit and fun, our solutions will help. Join the Millie Club and let's go! Hello there. We're in the midst of a series called The Only Way to Grow Your Business with Ease. In the first episode, we talked about the ability to handle a new level of expansion and what it's determined by, which was super critical. The second part that we talked about was, what is your obstacle? What's the obstacle? What's going to hold you back from reaching a new level of expansion? What's going to hold you back from that? And now this one is part 3. And part 3 is all about how they can't drive. They can't touch the wheel. Don't let them touch the wheel. Oh, yes. I'll tell you what I mean. Doesn't it seem like you always hear, go with your feelings, go with the flow. If it's not your vibe, then whatever, don't do it, blow it off, right? And it's true. You should do at least what you like to do, right? And you should feel joy and happiness and peace and walking in fields of flowers and enjoying a babbling brook, right? And yes. Yes, yes, yes. Stop and smell the flowers, for sure. Early in our relationship, Paul and I had an argument about this. I said, you've got to get things done. You've got to accomplish goals. You want to create a legacy. And he looks at me and he says, "Of course, right, but not at the risk of happiness and relationships," he replied. And I was like, "Okay, all right," I said, "but if you don't create goals around happiness and relationships, they will be at risk," I shot back. And then Paul said back to me pretty heatedly, "You won't have any happiness or relationships if you are nonstop pushing and grinding." Well, you can guess how that argument went on. And then as I walked out the back door, on my way to the store, I found a bouquet of flowers from him that said, "Stop and smell these flowers. Love, Paul." I mean, I get it. I get it. I have struggled mightily with this tension of feelings and achieving goals, right? What I've learned is that it's really 2 different topics. You do have to pause and take time to smell the flowers and to refill your cup. That's really important. And if you're a goal-oriented entrepreneur, you have to make it a goal in the in the best of ways. You should schedule it. Be intentional about it because you cannot hustle and grind all day long. That's completely different from the point I was trying to make then, and I couldn't articulate it well. I'm better at it now for sure. And this is it. The point is, you can't always be stopping and smelling the flowers all the time, obviously, if you want to hit your goals. But listen to it this way. Your emotions, your feelings are really important, right? They are important. You have to acknowledge them. You want to make sure you're on that right path, smelling the flowers, right? What I'll tell you is that successful entrepreneurs learn to unhook their ability to execute from their emotional journey. It's 2 separate things. Yes, right. Acknowledge your feelings for sure. They are important. And as you drive towards your goals, your feelings should be there with you, maybe even in the front seat if you allow them to. But they may not drive. They may not touch the wheel. They may not touch the radio. They don't get to choose the music. That's you. And they definitely do not get to determine the snacks. Absolutely not. My argument is that you won't get where you want to go without unhooking them from your car, without allowing them to determine if you're going to get in that car and drive, right? You can't allow them to stop that. You are in control of that. You have agency. That is your domain. So sometimes I wake up in the morning and I just want to go back to sleep. I mean, I know I have plans, right? So I unhook that feeling of fatigue. I don't let it drive me, and I push past it. And I take charge because I wanted to talk to you today. I wanted to be here today. I've got a little bit of a cold. I certainly could have stayed in bed, but it's not the time for that now. I have been taking care of myself. I did go to bed early tonight. I can do this. I do acknowledge those feelings, but I choose not to let them drive me around. I choose not to let my emotions drive the car. That's what I get to do. And I make sure of the fact that I pause and enjoy time to smell the roses. And Paul gives me, he's so good at giving me flowers all the time. I'm so blessed. I have a great story to share about this from my client Cadence from Fuzzy Goat in Thomasville, Georgia. I'll never forget the picture she sent me of her next brand new Mini Cooper is what I believe it was. And it was such a beautiful Millie Moment. That's what we call them in our world. It's celebrating what's getting you to your goals, right? What's getting you to 7 figures, what's getting you to be a richer retailer in every sense of the word. And it's a perfect example of how hard she reached to get to that point. But she is stopping and smelling the flowers. She bought herself a new car. She was so excited about it. And I was so happy that she shared that with me. Then she and Mike went out for lunch that day in the car. That's the beautiful thing about it, right? She had driven the car literally to achieve her goals, but then she was also going to enjoy it. You got to do both, but you don't let those emotions touch that wheel. You don't let them touch that steering wheel. They don't get to drive. You do. You choose not to let your emotions drive your car. Gosh, if this episode inspired you or encouraged you in any way at all, I'd so love to hear from you. Just leave us a review or connect with me over on the Facebook group. All you have to do is go to Retail Mavens FB for Facebook, RetailMavensFB.com. I'll meet you back here real soon. You are fabulous, and I love you. Happy retailing.